There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Yonkō Table. I'm your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney, and we are covering Marvel's What If Episode 2. This marks, I believe it's the final return of T'Challa in the Marvel MCU proper. We might get a couple episodes later, maybe some continuation of where we left off today, but damn was this episode. I mean, this episode left a mark, at least for me. But before we get into the nitty gritty, with me as always is fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop. Grandmaster, how have you been, my man?
I've been good, Dr. Jace. I'm doing fine. Yes, this is a fun episode to talk about, so I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that I definitely watched it like at 6:30 a.m. this morning, but that's fine. It left such a good taste in my mouth that I'm ready to spew it out for you all to hear. So
it didn't leave you mad with excitement and glee?
It did make me mad. I can't. Let me stop. I can't do that. I can't do it. I never done it. I'm not gonna try to do my impressions on here. But no, I'm mad with happiness. There you go. I'm happy. Exactly. I'm satisfied.
As am I. Coming up with Supernovas, we got Supernova Toasty. Toasty, it's been a while. How have you been?
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm doing good. Still tired. Just taking day by day, practically.
Hopefully this episode, pumped you up a little bit, right? You're excited. You're happy.
It did. It was way better than the first episode because I was reading the comments and people I thought overhyped the first episode way more than this one when the quality is the reverse. But we can talk about this later.
For sure. Next up, we got Supernova Rick coming in for his second episode. Rick, how have you been, man?
Good. Happy to be back. First episode was awesome dealing with you guys. But I definitely have to agree with Toasty. This new episode definitely should have been the first one. Quality, comedy, story. I'm going to get into a good conversation. It's going to be good.
For sure. It hit all the marks, but we'll get into the nitty gritty. And last but not least, Supernova Rose the Crafter. Rose, how have you been, man?
I've been good, but I've been hungry, mad hungry. So I'm back at the table. Let's go.
Clever.
I like it. Rose always comes in clutch with the clever quotes. I like it. He is the craftiest of us, after all. So, where we leave off from last week's episode. So last week, as we all know, it was Captain Carter, right? What if Captain America was Agent Carter? And for the most part, it was, as we discussed previously, a rehash of Captain America, the first Avenger, right? And we had some gripes with it, but overall, it was a pretty decent episode for Marvel's What If. But damn. Episode 2. Listen, we all might have different opinions about how excited or how much we enjoyed the episode, or maybe how much we did not enjoy the episode. But I can tell you guys right now, for me personally, this second episode was phenomenal. It literally, for me, it literally took the concept of what if, and they really went home with just creating all these alternate scenarios with these different characters and the environments they appear in. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm gonna throw this onto the table because I really want to know what you all think. Do you guys have a more of a tempered excitement about the episode, or is it like it was all right, or what do you guys think?
I think the episode really did hit the check marks that we said last week that they needed to hit. We weren't given a rehash film, so this was a grand opportunity for them just to redo Guardians of the Galaxy, and they didn't, thank goodness.
Yes.
And we got that great performance from Chadwick, who, you know, we said some things about, you know, some of the voice actors not really selling their part last week, but
Chadwick did pretty good.
Yeah, man, he sounds like he's in front of a camera, you know. He sounds like he has embodied his role of T'Challa. So that was very heartwarming to see play out so well. And I mean, I think, yeah, like you said, Dr. Jace, they just really did a good job this episode of showing more ripple effects of a what if scenario. You know, really, in Captain Carter, all we got was Captain Carter. And if anything else, it was really Steve getting that quasi Iron Man suit, and, you know, Captain Carter going to the future.
And then
really
Red
all the
Skull
other
dying. And
Red Skull dying.
That was about it.
But really all the beats were the same. And this really was more of an original story and definitely showed how a ripple effect really works. It affects all parts. And that made this episode very fun to watch. So very much enjoyed this episode more than number one. And I hope they go up from here. I really hope they go up from here. But we'll see.
Yeah, to build on that, I mean, it's exactly, I think it's the expectation of what we expected What If to really be. And I know, Dr. Jace, you mentioned this before we even started, but it really should have been the first episode, because this was the bar, I believe, that most people have for
sure.
What If and what the blueprint looks like for a What If series. And they hit it. I enjoyed it. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it's still amazing. And Chadwick's performance was still amazing as well. I was hooked from start to finish. I was entertained. I even laughed at the corny jokes, and sometimes I don't laugh at the corny jokes.
There were a lot.
So it was fun. I loved it.
Yeah. Totally go ahead, man.
Oh, okay, thanks. No, this week episode was amazing. Last week episode, I wasn't on here, but I'm sure you guys discussed it. It was predictable to the point where I kind of got bored in the middle of the show. I knew what was going to happen. The minute I saw the train scene, people falling, it was predictable. All the way to the end, I didn't even care for the ending, because it was like, oh, this is the same ending we got before. But this episode hit it out of the park. It was amazing. I didn't predict anything that was going to happen. And the best part for me is that the character looked different from the original form, at least some of the characters, or they dressed differently. And all of the all the Easter eggs that were shown throughout the episode, that got me hyped. So this episode definitely should have been the one and only episode. The first episode, honestly, no. I feel like that's when they were testing the water with the show. And that was just, the first episode they showed to the directors or whoever Disney are, they have to talk to about the money. Like,
maybe like a pilot episode.
Yeah, it's a pilot episode. Yeah. It felt like a pilot episode. It felt like they didn't do as much work in the first episode than this one. It's a world difference. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do for the third episode, because if it's not as good as this one, y'all messed up.
They capped that episode too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely I enjoyed it. After watching the first one, like you said, the first one kind of felt like a pilot episode, but this one you could see all the ripple effects, but also just the variations and things too as well, like how like the whole world changed for the Ravagers when T'Challa was there. He showed them, like in the beginning, he shows them to be good. Like they weren't like you hear him talking to Yondu, and Yondu's like, "Don't you remember we could do this?" And he's like, "No, but this is what we do now." Like they were talking about being good, the good things he's doing in the universe. Like he went out and all these things changed because he became a Ravager. He was like, "Yo, we got to change the world. We got to do this. We got to do this." And then when they threw Thanos, I couldn't even help but laugh at that. When I saw that, I'm like, "Thanos, what?" And he was just talking about like what he could have did, his past plans, and how T'Challa helped change his mind. It was gold for me. I enjoyed it a lot more than the first.
No, for sure. I mean, for me, the fact that T'Challa, just a simple change of T'Challa becoming Starlord, it really made the whole thing more comedic for me, to show how much resolution to majority of the MCU problems he resolved in place of Peter Quill. So I'm thinking, is Peter Quill that much of a jackass that he couldn't resolve like literally half of these problems? No offense to Peter Quill. Peter Quill is great. I love him. I love Oh, God, I already forgot his name.
Well, he's not that great now.
He's not. No. He's
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. He's seen better times. He's seen better times for sure. But I mean, like what we were saying, that ripple effect, just a little thing of changing one character's origin stories. That was one thing I was kind of worried that they were going to do. Like, okay, so what if T'Challa became Starlord? I thought at some point T'Challa was just going to don the Black Panther, suit. And then he was just going to, fight like Black Panther. So it's just Black Panther in space. No, it was really T'Challa as Starlord. He had Starlord's kit. And he fought like Starlord. He had like the little dual pistols and I don't know what Starlord has.
Probably fought better than Starlord. No, he's got Dora Milaje training under his belt. Right. Peter Quill's just a little brawler.
That's true. I mean, he's a more efficient Starlord, both in combat and resolution. We kept alluding to it. This man somehow talked down the Mad Titan from genocide. Like, how do you do that?
That's one. Last week we talked about these. I said I want to see parallels, right? It's so funny that T'Challa is just, it's in that opening scene too, where he's like, "You may know me as Starlord," and Korath, he's over here like, "Starlord? Oh my gosh, the legendary outlaw."
Compared to the who?
Who? Right.
Yep.
So it's so funny that that's a minuscule detail that they said, yo, we could really play off of this. Like, what if Star-Lord was actually the legend that he thought he was? And that was really funny to see. And it makes sense too, because T'Challa was trained in diplomacy from like a young age.
Exactly. It wasn't some BS that was like, oh, he's charming. Right. So he pulled it out of nowhere. No, it's tied to his character. Right.
So it makes perfect sense. And I give them props for that, because I mean, I wasn't even thinking of that. That Thanos bit, never saw that coming.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. And even the fact that they changed up the love interest from more to Nebula. I was like, yo, what is this? Like, he was able to get Nebula from being like this crazy psycho chick. She's like, oh, I like him. I'm gonna help him out and do stuff. Like, I was like, that was a good twist on it.
Well, she said cha-cha.
That's
cha-cha. Oh,
that's right.
Cha-cha.
Oh man, I mean, for sure. Like, Marvel and the writers for this episode, I felt like they let loose. They went in multiple different directions. They said, hey, with Captain Carter, and that's the thing. I think I gave Captain Carter last week like an 8 out of 10 or so, but I gave it that score on the premise that, this is the first episode and this score might change depending on how future What If episodes perform. Honestly, looking back at Captain Carter, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed Captain Carter, but that 8 might go down to a 7 just because I don't know, man. I liked everything with Star-Lord changing T'Challa changing so much of the timeline just by him being introduced as Star-Lord. We have a different take on Thanos. Like, I like this version of Thanos. I like, they were like sitting there, chilling with him, having conversations, drinking. Like, this is cool, man. I love this is hilarious.
Second that, my vote from the first one is going way down. Like, the way after seeing this one, I gave the last one an 8.5 based on the fact that I hadn't seen anything else. It's definitely got it's borderline F.
Y'all can't do that. No,
I agree.
No.
You cannot go back and change your score.
No, I can retro. No, this is my what if. This is my what if.
No.
What if? Yes. What if? What if they change their score?
Just give this episode a 10. I mean, here we are already talking about the ranking.
They can still go back and say, okay, this is what a good product. This is what an amazing product looks like.
No, I warned them. That's why I gave it a 7.
I can return a shirt at the store. I should be able to return my score.
And what if the next episode is even better? You can't give it the same score as this one.
11
so the first one has to go down.
I'm gonna say this one's a 10. The first one was a 7.
And it's free falling.
No, this one, every episode's got to meet this one or be on par.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
They did it right. Yeah, they did it right.
Well, the changes had more depth to it.
They did.
Yeah.
Like it actually set a whole new story. So
it didn't just cover Guardians of the Galaxy. And that was, again, I know we're a broken record at this point, but I mean, that was one of our main complaints. Were all these episodes of What If just going to be retellings or alternate retellings of the Marvel movies? That's literally all Captain Carter was, with some minor variations. They literally had her end her story arc the same way Steve Rogers did, except, instead of being frozen in ice, she's stuck in some alternate dimension for probably a couple hours, but then when she comes back, it's like 70 years in the future. It's like, okay, exactly. That's a little different, but we're still at the same destination. I know Toasty's familiar with this, but it's kind of like the Telltale games, where
you know what? Yeah,
you come at the same destination, but it's just, do you want to wear sandals or shoes?
Like that Netflix movie. Remember when they tried to do that Netflix decision
with Black Mirror, the Black Mirror.
Yes,
the Black Mirror. Yeah, really, and that's what sucks about the first episode is it was nothing new. It's not enjoyable if it's nothing new. If they were just gonna say, okay, let's make the scrawny American guy a British lady and have the same story, I mean, it's totally boring. They didn't even bother giving us an after credits scene, from what I remember, of her meeting old Steve, the same way the older version of Steve met her in the movie. They could have at least done that. They didn't even.
But would you have wanted that if it was just going to be a rehash?
Yes. If they're going to do a rehash, at least give us something extra. Because all that happened is with the first one is that she appeared. It's been 70 years. Oh, and that was it.
Literally what I said last time. There was no love interest. There was nothing. She just said, "Hey, I'm here," and they're like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Well, I guess the war is over. I did a good job."
Yeah, exactly. She didn't even ask if he's okay or what happened to him. But this one, it was good, like you guys mentioned. This the Black Panther character affected so many other characters, and his version of the What If
story.
It's a completely different story. Nebula was a psychopath in the movie, but now she's flirting and making tricks so she can trick the bad guys.
She has golden locks now.
And mending her relationship with their father.
Exactly.
Right. They're seeking counseling.
Yeah.
He's been trying to get them to seek counseling.
For God's sake, that's amazing.
All
T'Challa. I can't wait to see more.
All T'Challa, resolving all of these conflicts. And I guess. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Thanos just looks so much at peace.
Like, yeah, he's not pissed anymore.
Honestly, I would love to see this version of Thanos again. It's so fun. I would love to see him.
Yes, it's fun. It's fun. All this episode was fun. It was a lot of fun. Like Korath, played by Jamin Hanshu, he's a fanboy. That was really fun to see because his character did nothing either in the movies, you know. And he appeared in Captain Marvel as well. I don't know if y'all remember.
I do. Yeah, he was.
Forgettable.
Okay.
And now he's over here like, you know, me and T'Challa, he might call me his best friend. You know, they had fun here, a lot more fun than they did in the first episode. So I think that's what If should be about. It's these crazy scenarios. But if it's like the same deadpan characters for some of these, you know, minor characters, that ain't cool to see. You know, who wants to watch that?
And we're coming off of, right now, we're deep into timeline stuff in the MCU. So I think like nobody wants to accept like a rehashing of somebody in just a different place where we're at now, especially in the MCU, especially with what the universe is about to offer in the MCU, the multiverse, and the little things we've seen already in the previous shows. For Loki, for example, supposed to bust open the gates of timeline and stuff is what they said. Whether they did it or not, it's a different thing. But yeah, we don't want to see a rehash surface level telling of a story for What If. We're deep in timeline stuff now. We already understand that you do one thing and it changes a million other things, according to what Marvel's told us for the past couple of years in the cinematic universe. So
no, for sure. Like, if anything, the only thing they probably retreaded on similar ground with in this episode was, you know, how they abducted Starlord, right? So they came in when he was a kid, They abducted T'Challa the same way they abducted Peter. And that was literally where the similarities ended. After that, it did its own thing. And that was the cool part about it. How would you guys rank T'Challa as Starlord versus Peter Quill? I know this is just one episode. It's one episode, 30 minutes. We've had multiple movies.
I'll cut you off.
Oh, okay.
He's 10 times better. Yeah. He changes people's whole perspective. He changes the universe. He actually does work. Like Peter Quill was just out just doing stuff, flying around, stealing. And he's like, all right, everybody's still bad. This is garbage. I'm doing things. Like, that's it.
I mean,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I mean, if he was the main character in the movies, we would not have Avenger Endgame. So right. I guess that's the bad thing. So it's a good thing that Peter Quill is that much of a clown at his job, which is why he didn't care. And if you guys remember, even in the Avengers movie, he's the only reason they didn't defeat Thanos when they were fighting. So
debatable.
I'm still salty. I'm still salty.
One of the big reasons, yes.
He punched the man in the face, and he got the girl distracted, which caused Thanos to wake up practically from this, I guess, trance that he was in. So, but this one is definitely better. I wouldn't mind if, as bad as if it was a TV series, maybe 10 episodes with this character, T'Challa, it would have been amazing. It would have been amazing. I would love to see how he convinced everybody to change. Because, like you guys mentioned this episode, everything is so different. So if they were to do a TV series about that, all of the stories would be different. There's nothing that would be similar whatsoever. And at least with Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't read the comic book, so all of my knowledge comes from the movies. So there's nothing in the movies that are similar to this. So I would be excited to see how he handle all those different characters, his interaction, him growing up. I mean, yeah.
No, for sure. Like, I mean, I just want to know how T'Challa even approached Thanos and had this talk.
He approached him like a therapist.
He had to.
Let's talk.
There had to have been a clash. There had to have been like a brawl at some point, because this is still the Mad Titan. He was still the Mad Titan.
Right.
He was still set on snapping everyone away. And I doubt he was gonna come in like with his suit and tie and debate T'Challa just openly. Yeah, you're right. I do want to see like how this man talked them down.
I would like to think, Thanos, yes, he's the Mad Titan, but he's only mad for his ideas and his execution. I think though Thanos would not be opposed for diplomacy or whatever, and have a sit down with somebody.
But like, how do you get him to sit down?
Because you don't approach him with hostility. You approach him.
He approaches people with hostility.
Listen, you say to Thanos, "Hey Thanos," or here, let me do my T'Challa. So you're the Mad Titan, Thanos. I have one question for you. What if I could give you everything you want that you do with the stones and show you a better way? And Thanos says, I'm listening. I don't have a voice right now, so I can't really do it. So that's how you approach him. Thanos wanted to create balance. T'Challa said, there's a better way than collecting these Infinity Stones. There it is. You give the man what he wants. He gave him what he wanted. Balance. There you go. That's it. Peter Quill.
Maybe he used Nebula.
Yeah, and then Nebula. So then
he used Nebula for all we know. He convinced her.
That's right. No Gamora either.
Yeah, because no Gamora in this episode.
Where's Gamora?
It's Gamora. Great question.
Actually, funny enough, I don't know if y'all looked at the promo poster.
She's there.
I think we know what she's doing. Do you know?
She's holding. We know she's holding.
Right.
Oh wait, tell me, because I haven't.
See, he doesn't know. He doesn't pay attention.
I don't know either.
Okay. In the promo poster, she's wielding Thanos' armor and his sword.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So she's the psycho.
Yeah, maybe Gamora has become the Mad Titan.
Now we need a sequel.
Right. And last week, we were talking about, would these things is this one timeline or are these multiple branches? Gamora was not featured in this episode, 1. And then 2, we had that post-credit scene. Well, not really post-credit scene, but that last scene with Ego.
Yeah, when Peter Quill was at because this is true. You saw him at the Dairy Queen. So
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Well, that's the thing too, because I mean that clearly transitions into a potential sequel episode for this timeline. But as of right now, do we think that this branch is in any way connected to the Captain Carter episode that we saw, or is that its own thing? Like, are they? I mean, again, I'm of the bunch that thinks they're two separate branches. You know, this is Captain Carter doing her thing, and this is T'Challa as Starlord. No connection whatsoever. And then future episodes might connect to that central storyline, but to me, I don't see them connected. I know Grandmaster was thinking that these are all going to be connected.
Well, this one is too early to tell. I think we will be able to connect some episodes. Like Captain Carter might have an episode that's connected to like episode 5, but this T'Challa episode might not necessarily be connected to the Captain Carter episode.
Well, wait a minute. They would have to, because we saw with the Collector.
So yeah, okay, good point. Let's talk about that. What'd you see?
Cap shield,
Thor's hammer.
Dark Elf knife, Hela's helmet.
Yep, the hammer was in there. Thor's hammer.
What did I mean? Yeah, the hammer was there.
Those were the 4 that I noticed too. Yeah, I'm sure there was more. I want to go back and look at that scene. But yeah, with that said, that Cap shield, that wasn't Captain Carter's shield.
Yeah, that was Captain America's shield.
Right. So that would stand to say that
these are separate.
They're separate timelines, yeah.
Well, either they're separate or someone else,
the universe, or somebody else donned the
Captain America. Right.
Also, so it's tough to tell.
Okay. I mean, obviously the Collector as because the Collector was in the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie, right?
First one.
In the first one?
Yes. God.
Come on.
Wasn't he in both movies?
He's in the first one, and then he gets choked out in Infinity War.
Infinity War? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the Collector, I know he, is pretty big in the comics, and he fights some of the heroes occasionally, but this was the one time in the show where I felt like he was an actual villain. Like he fought. He used the toys that he collected, like the Dark Elf knives, Hela's helmet, all that stuff from Asgard, and he actually put up a fight. And this is probably the one gripe I would have with the episode. If it was maybe a little bit longer, we could have seen more of his collection and see like how he used that arsenal to his advantage. Because he was just going like one after the other. I would have loved to see more toys at his disposal. He really only used like, I guess like three things.
He didn't use any of the hero ones, so
right. He just used a Dark Elf knife and
Hela's helmet. But that begs the question, he had Mjolnir in there. Can he even lift that?
Yeah, could he even use it? Could he even use that?
Someone had to put it there.
Exactly. So that begs that question, No,
for sure. I mean, aside from the Collector, I mean, we've been saying it the whole time. Thanos stole the show for me. There's that line where, what was it that he said? He said, oh my God, Grandmaster, help me out.
The whole genocide bit?
I mean, there was that, but there was the mad one where it's like, I'm not crazy.
He went to go fight the Black Order, which is cool because those are his like other
those are his cronies
and daughters, and Nebula was like, "You're crazy, you can't take them all on." Oh my God.
Go ahead, take your time.
I can't, but I'll try. Not crazy, mad. I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry. But there you go. He's like, I'm mad. And he kicked ass. I mean, again, he kicked all the Avengers ass in the films. And it stands to show that he would still be able to kick major ass in this film. I mean, this episode.
I mean, the Black Order was kicking his ass, though.
They were kicking his ass, right?
Which begs the question, like, was it really the Infinity Stones carrying most of that weight of him being like this juggernaut in the original, Endgame and Infinity War? Because I mean, yes, Thanos whooped, you know, some ass, but once, what was the big guy called from the Black Order? I forgot his name.
Cole Obsidian.
Cole Obsidian. And then there was
Cole, then there was Proxima Midnight. Yeah.
Okay.
She sliced his leg, right?
Yeah. Once those two came in, he was out.
That's what happens when you get at peace, man. When you're not mad anymore, you don't have you don't have anger and rage pushing you. He's like a regular fighter.
They whooped Vision's butt, so.
Yeah, because they like nerfed Vision and forgot that he had a Mind Stone in his head, the all-powerful Mind Stone. So
it's possible that Thanos just didn't want to kill them, so he had no murderous intent. He was just trying to stall and beat them up.
Also true.
Because if he wanted to kill them, he could have just grabbed their head and then pop.
Very much.
That is true.
Remember, he took on the Hulk.
That's right. He did.
Beat the Hulk.
He made the Hulk cry or like be scared. Like
the Hulk didn't even want to come out.
Yeah, he gave him PTSD. The kid went to hide back in the closet. He was like, "No, I'm not coming out."
Oh man. I mean, aside from Thanos, I guess that. Oh, go ahead.
Are you moving on from Thanos?
Oh no, I was gonna mention something about Peter, but go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, did you catch Thanos low key flirting with Okoye in the little Wakandan dinner?
Yes. Yes,
yeah.
it was genocide like this. Yes, dude, he even made the sign. He was like, yes, dude.
Yeah.
And Granola, she was like, oh my God, Dad. And she pushed her head away, dude. That one was amazing.
Oh, you know, no. Okay, no, I do. I do remember that. That was when they were still in the bar, right?
No. They're in Wakanda, back in Wakanda.
Yeah, that's near the end.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, it was kind of scrolling to all of the characters, and he was sitting on the table just trying to flirt, saying, yeah, it's just genocide. You just do this. It's sufficient, though.
I'll tell you, man, this take on Thanos, I need more of it. I definitely need more of it for sure, because this man is a clown. Do we think that maybe T'Challa's goals being a little bit, because like I feel like his goals, because they were so different from Peter Quill's, that might have led to more of this ripple effect that he had in the grander I guess timeline. Because what was it, T'Challa, his main thing is that he just wants to explore outside of his borders, you know, because Wakanda is still at this point in time that isolated country that doesn't want to open its borders or expand in any way. So T'Challa, when he gets abducted, his whole, like literally the galaxy was opened up for him to explore. And that might have played a role into why he was so diplomatic and so likable amongst the entire, practically the galaxy. Peter Quill, what was it with Peter Quill? He just wanted, I mean, he didn't really care, right?
Well,
he's coming off of his mom.
Right.
So he's like just a mess of a kid. And then he gets abducted.
And
kidnapped.
Yeah,
you have Yondu as his primary influence, and you know he's like, you know, Yondu made me crawl into little tiny places to go steal things, or he would eat me. You know, that's kind of sounds pretty traumatic for a child growing up. That your father figure, you know, or he may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy. Right.
But you gotta think about it though. What did T'Challa say though to Yondu to not make him do that? Because T'Challa was still the same age when he got abducted.
He seemed to love Yondu.
It was a temperament. It was just how T'Challa came in. He's like, you're not tripping about the fact we just snatched you into this random plane, this random aircraft.
He wasn't as impressionable. He, you know, again, he
even brought it up. He brought it up too. He's like, hey kid, you're not afraid? You're not scared about what just happened to you? And I mean, he wasn't. T'Challa was excited.
Yeah, Peter Quill was probably crying his butt off when he got first abducted, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
My mother.
Oh,
I mean, I hate to be that.
That's messed up, Mom.
That's messed up.
I'm sorry. That was mean.
Cancel.
You're just mad. That's mad.
Definitely cancel. I don't know this man, by the way.
I'm sorry. I'm dark humor. Sorry.
Write the apology letter.
Dark humor. What do you mean?
It's not dark humor. I'm trying to give you perspective of what happened. Peter Quill was in a bad place, bad state of mind. He's easily impressionable. So of course he's gonna take all the bad qualities of Yondu, and that's gonna be, you know, how he rolls with the rest of his life. T'Challa, he's a prince, all right? He's got diplomacy under his belt. He's got all this, you know, like all these tutors probably teaching him from the, you know, whatever. He's a well-rounded kid pulled into this world, a world that he was seeking. Because like you said, Rose, it was still isolated with Wakanda at the time. So when you give a mouse a cookie, there you go.
You get Ocean's 11 or T'Challa's 11 in this scenario. I
don't know if it was 11. I
got bank heist, you know, vibes, you know, like that episode of Rick and Morty. They all start meeting up their
Toasty's favorite episode. I'm in, you son of a bitch.
My God, that episode is so bad, man.
That episode was hilarious. No, shut up.
You know what? Let's agree that you're wrong and we can move on.
Stop. But no, for sure. Like, this is what set it apart from just being a retelling of Guardians of the Galaxy. This was like a bank heist type of ordeal. But again, it kind of goes into my gripe where if this episode was a little bit longer, we probably would have gotten more of the intricacies of, okay, it's not just tricking the front guards and then we're already at the secret container with the, what was it, the seeds of life? Ember?
Genesis.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we haven't had those in the MCU, right? Those seeds.
I don't remember them.
Okay.
No.
Do we think they're gonna play a role at all? Because nothing.
No, definitely not. It's just
wait. In T'Challa's story or just in the MCU in general? You really think that I gotta go anything with?
He's back in Wakanda.
I mean, he's back in Wakanda, but I feel like he's not gonna stay there.
He's been away for 20 years. He's gonna spend some time with his family.
He'll spend like
or maybe he's gonna get bored and, you know, yearn to go back into space and explore.
Or maybe he might look for the next best thing. He already did the galaxy. Maybe he's gonna try to find, I don't know, Asgard or something.
Maybe he needs to go find Howard the Duck. He did just leave him there.
There we go. Exactly.
Isolated.
That was another funny scene. Who would have thought we'd seen Howard the Duck again?
That's right. We did. I mean, he was in the same scenario as before in the collector's collection.
Yeah.
Man, are we missing anything else from this episode? I felt like we covered.
We're missing. They did a great job with this. To only have 30-something minutes, it was a quick beat story, but they changed so much, and I feel like a lot of side characters did get shine in one way or another. Even at the end, like the I can't think of her name, but.
The collector's helper.
Yeah, when
is she a new character?
I'm like, this is no. She's been around.
She was in the first Guardians movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I need to
dude, she's the assistant.
Yeah, more like a slave, but
like a slave.
Traumatic slave, yes.
But that's why that was a good scene because you know she's like, I like what you said about people in cages.
Yeah.
You know, enough is enough. Peter Quill could never. Peter Quill didn't get an education past 7th grade before being abducted. So what the hell?
We know he was a C student, so he was barely struggling.
Not to mention, he's from Alabama, where they probably censored a lot of his learning. You know, they probably told him slavery was a good thing.
That's right. This is 1970s Alabama, right? It was like 1970, 1980.
Yes.
1980. Yeah.
For sure.
You're laughing, but you know it's true. You know it's true.
You know what? That's true. I do not admit anything, though. I might need to move to Alabama in the future. You never know. Jobs, opportunity. I love the state.
Of course.
You get blacklisted in the good old state of Alabama.
But no, for sure. I feel like the pacing, just because it was something new and fresh. I mean, whatever gripes we may have had of how quickly the story might have progressed, I think you notice it a lot more when it's a story that's already familiar to you. And that's what happened with Captain Carter. It was a retelling of Captain America. And because of that, we noticed like how quickly it was going through a lot of these story beats. That like a lot of the times you barely had room to breathe, but at the end of the day, you didn't like. It's like the writers knew that you didn't want to see a retelling of Captain America, but at the same time, they had to for some reason, so they just went along for the ride. In this case, new story, the pacing was really solid. I felt like Rose was saying, the characters had room to shine. I wanted more, obviously, but I felt like for what I got, I was satisfied. I saw enough of Thanos. I want more of him, but I saw enough. I saw enough of Nebula. I want more of Nebula. But again, whole roster hit it out of the park. There wasn't a single person where I was like, damn, they didn't give him enough room to shine or her enough room to shine. So, final scoring. You guys know my score already. This is a 10 out of 10, baby. This is a perfect score. No.
You gave last week too high. You stink.
No, and that's why when I even said it last week, I said this score is premised on how good the future episodes would be, because we don't know if What If is going to be more daring than this. Like, because this is just Captain Carter, the first Avenger. This is all that it is. But this week's episode, now I go back and think, well, damn, they did such a phenomenal job here. This was just a retelling of Captain America. I gotta knock it down at least half a point, at least half, 7.5, 7 to 7.5. I stand on that hill. I still loved it. I still like the Captain Carter episode. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. It's not a 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. It was good. It was all right. This episode is the benchmark for me, at least. This is the benchmark of what I'm going to be judging every What If episode from now on. If it doesn't meet these expectations, it's going to get lower than a 10 out of 10. It might get an 8. It might get a 9. It might get a 7. It might be worse than Captain Carter. I mean, it really all depends. Do we know what we're getting next week? Is it the Killmonger one, or that's still...
No, it's not the Killmonger one. Gosh, I read it somewhere. It leaked because they're not trying to leak them. I already forgot though.
I mean, whatever it is,
we got a lot of fun ones coming.
That'd be good,
right? Yeah, because I know we have like the Spider-Man with the Doctor Strange's cloak, and obviously the Killmonger one. I mean, there's a bunch. There are so many. The fact that this episode had so much fun with its storytelling and really just went all in. They didn't care about continuity with other Marvel shows or whatever, but they just did their own thing. I
think I remember now. I might be wrong, but I think next week might be if Loki won the Battle of New York.
Okay, so as an example, if Loki won the Battle of New York, I cannot see that following the story beat of any Marvel rehash movie. That's got to follow its own thing. If Loki won New York, that's an original story because he won. He beat the Avengers. So, I mean, the villain's on top. So I'm hoping like everything changes, like, his relationships in Asgard, when certain characters might appear. I mean, even here, what was it? Peter Quill's dad. I forgot his name.
Ego.
He comes to Earth in this What If episode. He comes to Earth and I guess abducts Peter or assimilates with him, whatever the deal was in Guardians 2. I don't remember, but he's there to initiate his plan of, evil doing. I do remember the dude was evil as hell. But we'll see more of that in a future What If episode with T'Challa. So yeah, I want them to go all out with, assuming Loki's the next one, I want them to just have fun. Don't copy and paste from an original movie. I'm standing by that number, 10 out of 10. What about you guys?
It's a 10. It's a 10.
Okay,
and I was right to give the first episode a 7. So because this one knocked it out of the park. In the future, I just want, again, more original like this. I want the parallels to see, give us that side-by-side comparison and how things would be different. They did it perfectly with T'Challa and Peter. Have fun with the characters like they did with Thanos and everybody here. And give me surprises like Thanos because, we were all just hyped to see T'Challa. We've never even thought Thanos might appear in this episode. That never crossed my mind, but it makes perfect sense that he's here, So give me surprises like that. Keep us on our toes, and I'm all in.
And even then, he doesn't establish the same relationships as Peter because, you had Rocket Raccoon, you had Groot, You had Gamora. They're not in this episode. There was Drax.
And Drax's family's alive, so that's nice to hear. But of course, Drax is just kind of he's a bartender. He's not he doesn't need to be the destroyer. You know?
Exactly. What about everyone else? Scores. Let me hear them.
For me, I have to say it was definitely a 10 out of 10. I like the Easter egg. He even had the Easter egg, the rock dude from Thor. I can't remember his name.
Korg.
Because he said he cut off his arm of a chatty dude, and I was like, oh, it's not. He definitely killed that dude. And so, honestly, for me, this episode was a 10 out of 10. And because I wasn't here last week, I have to say last week's episode for me had to be a 6 or a 6.5 because it was nothing different.
Damn.
Yeah, it was not impressive whatsoever.
Was that your score even before this episode when you watched it?
Yes, because I was bored watching it. And low key, when I watched it, because I was late because of work, when I watched it like before going to bed, I practically fell asleep watching it because I knew how predictable it was. I was on my phone at the same time. But this one, I actually put my phone down once I realized, snap, the characters are different. The interaction is different. I thought it was going to be the same thing, but this one hit it out of the park. It was a brand new story. Like you guys mentioned, with the Loki next week, hopefully it's Loki, there's nothing to predict. We don't know what's going to happen. What would have sucked if they made the villain from New York, I don't know, Thanos, and they still defeated him in New York instead? Would have been the same outcome, like the Avengers won. Like what else is there to happen after that? But definitely this episode was a 10 out of 10. Brand new story. I like the character, and the only thing I can pray for is that they make a sequel. They have to make a sequel to this episode.
Are we confirmed for more episodes?
He's got 3 more.
Okay. And this
who
season
has 3 more?
or future?
Chadwick has 3 more in this current season.
Okay. All right.
You know what? And I hate to say it, he was a good actor, but in terms of storytelling, if they have to replace him, I'm all in favor for that. Because
continue the story of T'Challa.
Yeah,
that's a separate discussion.
Yeah,
damn.
Oh yeah, because like for me, I didn't know about Black Panther or any of those from the comic, and he made me a fan of the series, and I wanted to continue one way or another. I don't want it to just disappear, because that would suck if 10 years from now nobody remembered Black Panther because they refused to continue the story. I feel like this character is such an awesome character that they need to keep bringing it back. If they're going to keep bringing back Spider-Man and Superman and Batman, they can do this one. And I know those are DC show, but they do all of those things for all those companies.
Wait, well, be careful with that, because rebooting Spider-Man and Batman it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and when they hit out of the park, though, it does hit. With like the Miles Morales movie, that movie was amazing. And I feel like they've learned their lesson. I'm willing to trust Marvel with that, because Marvel has hit more W's than L since they started this entire multiverse crap that they're doing right now. And that's my opinion. 10 out of 10. Last week's episode 6 to 6.5, but the rating might go down depending on next week's episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a rating for last week's. Technically, I've only seen half of it. I actually watched this before I even watched the first one, I admit.
Just give it a 6 and move on.
No, I'm not gonna give it a 6 because it. I don't know. I'm not gonna rate it yet. It's too premature. What I will say is that they improved a lot based on what I did see, based on what I see now with the second one. I mean, it's like we said earlier. This is the blueprint of at least what I expected What If to at least try to touch ground on. I was just on my toes. I really don't know what else to say. Similar beats as y'all say. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It just because of how entertained I was. I can't remember the last time I was this entertained watching like an episode through and through. Like even WandaVision and stuff, as much as I enjoyed it, it was times where I sat down for a second. I'm like, all right, let's make it through. But this was just like, I want to figure out what happens to this. And Thanos pops up. I'm like, he's probably gone now. It's probably just a quick little bit. And then he's back some more. So I'm like, this is great. And unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman and his untimely passing, very, hits heavy. But man, the work that he left behind, like even after from Ma Rainey to these voice acting performances, is just amazing. And that's what I struggle with this show, actually, is that I'm still getting adjusted to the animation style, and I'm still getting adjusted to the voice acting, because some people are just better than others, and you can see the mouth moving. So my eyes, I'm just trying to adjust. But I watched this episode and I just didn't think about anything else but what the story was going, and what thing am I going to laugh at? What thing am I going to see? What story is it going to become? So no matter how they do any of the other ones, this is a 10 out of 10, just raw, like 10 out of 10, like bump execution, bump all that stuff. It's just a fun and heartfelt time. So 10 out of 10 for me.
Let's see. For this one, yeah, I have to say the same, man. After seeing last week's episode and just the rehashing of what actually happened in Captain America, this one, definitely 10 out of 10. And I definitely take my vote last week. I have to lower it a little bit because I gave it like an 8.5 last week. But
and that's okay.
This,
and that's okay.
And I have the right to take my vote back, Ethan.
We have been doing Marvel. We've been doing What If, Ultimate Timelines, and everything. So who has the nerve to get on here and say you can't change something? We've been reviewing shows that change everything.
But I'm not gonna take the whole story away from it. It definitely got a C last week's episode, but this week 10 out of 10. Story through and through, the ripple effects, the characters, the humor, just all of it together, a total package. It definitely set the baseline for what I want to see with the next few episodes. So it's a great job with this week's episode.
Agreed. I think we're all on the same page. Episode was amazing. Want to see more of Chadwick and his final 3 episodes that we have so far with T'Challa, and we'll probably see more of the things that we liked from this week's episode. More Thanos, more maybe a sneak peek at Gamora. Just maybe some more Peter Quill and Ego. I mean, that would be really cool. For sure, they're gonna have to cover that because that was like the post-credit scene in a way at the very end. But if you guys have not watched Marvel's What If, at least episode 2, for the love of God, please go watch it. Like, in all honesty, like if we didn't allude to it before, this should have been the first episode. This should have been what set the standard for the rest of the series. Because then, I guess if that was episode 1, then episode 2 would have been Captain Carter, and then we would have been like, oh, it started strong, but now we're kind of getting into mid territory. So it's a lose-lose scenario no matter how you have it. But if you want to leave a good first impression, because maybe some people dropped off What If after the first episode because they're just like, oh, this is just Captain America retelling. I'm not going to watch the rest of these episodes. So go out and watch it. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you enjoyed our talks on Marvel's What If episode 2, be sure to leave a like and let us know what you liked about the episode as well. Who were your favorite characters? What were your favorite scenarios with them? Like, I mean, easily Thanos was the one that stole the show in terms of alternate takes, but T'Challa, great job. Just everyone. The entire supporting cast was phenomenal in their alternate scenarios. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on whatever social media platform you're listening to this episode on. And while you're at it, don't forget to follow us on those social media platforms as well, at Yonkō Table on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on everything, man.
You got it. You did it.
Yeah.
Good job.
Solid. We're on everything. Leave us a like, let us know your thoughts, and share around with friends and family. But that is it for this week's episode of the Yonkō Table. I'm your Yonkō host, I'm not GrandMaster.
Oh. You idiot!
Never.
What if?
No, you're right. I'm playing into the theme of what we're in. So
yeah, right.
Exactly. What if? Of course. Exactly. A Freaky Friday scenario.
Gotcha.
I'm your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney, fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop, and fellow Supernovas, Rose the Crafter, Toasty, and Reek. Signing off. Take care, everyone.